Welcome back to Everything I Know About Guitar, and in this week's episode we're going to be looking at an example of what I might give to a beginner student in their very first lesson on the guitar. So this is not just for kids, but it's for adults as well. It's for parents who want to support their children in their learning, and it's for aspiring guitar teachers who need help with what to do in a first lesson, and for anybody at all who's interested in the very fundamental basics of the guitar. More on that after this. If you're new around here, my name's McKenzie and welcome to this channel. The first thing that I want to talk about is if you're a parent and looking to get a first instrument for your child, then my suggestion is to get a nylon string or classical guitar. They come in 4 different sizes: quarter size, half size, 3/4 size, and full size. This one is a full size model, and the best thing to do is to go to a guitar shop and get them to help you with the sizing. It's really important you get the right size for your child, because if it's too big or too small, it can really make the difference between them picking up the guitar and not picking up the guitar. So it's quite essential to get the right size, in my opinion. There's 3 main parts to the guitar. There's the body, which is this big peanut shaped looking thing here. That is basically a big resonating chamber, and it has a hole in the middle where the sound is projected out of. Then we have the neck, which is this long piece here, and this is the whole bit here, so this is the neck. On the front of the neck we have the fretboard. The fretboard holds these frets into place. If you don't know what frets are, they're these metal bars that run vertically this way along the whole fretboard, and they mark out the notes that we play. Up here we have the head or headstock, and the headstock holds these tuners, and these are basically mechanisms that allow us to tighten or loosen the strings so we can get the thing in tune. Up here we have the nut, and down here we have the saddle. The saddle sits on the bridge, and these 2 pieces, the saddle and the nut, are the parts of the guitar where the strings are suspended between. There are a couple of different ways to hold the guitar, but I'm going to teach you a specific way to do it, which is to put the guitar on your right leg if you're right-handed, so like this, or your left leg if you're left-handed, like this. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to put it on this side. Make sure that the curve sits on your right leg like this. Get the pit of your elbow, I don't know what this part is called, but I'm going to call it the elbow pit. And then that sits on this side of the guitar on the very highest point up here. This can vary, it doesn't have to be exactly up there, but I find that's a good spot to put it. So the guitar should be able to sit there while you move your arms like this. In other words, it shouldn't float around and fall out like this, but it should be able to sit there, and if you move your arms, the guitar stays still. So generally, to make a sound on the guitar, people either use their fingers or they use a pick or plectrum. So a pick or a plectrum is this thing here. So they come in all sorts of colors and sizes and everything, but they're about this size generally. I would advise to first learn how to use your thumb to produce a sound, because then you don't have to use any external device. So let's have a look at how that works. We're going to take this string here, which is the 6th string, not the 1st string. This one is the 1st string. So we'll take this 6th string here, and we're just going to strike it behind the sound hole here. So here's the sound hole, here's the back of the sound hole, and we're just going to strike the string there. Next one. Next one. Next one. Next one. And last one. Okay, now let's do the other way. We'll just do 4 for each string this time. Starting on this one, the 1st string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3rd string. 2, 3, 4, 4th string, 2, 3, 4, 5th string, 2, 3, 4, 6th string, 2, 3, 4. Now that we know how to produce a sound on the guitar, it's time to look at the fretting hand. In the case of right-handers like myself, that means your left hand. So what you want to do is pretend that you have an orange or a ball in your hand, like that. Then when you go to put that on the guitar, your thumb should be vertical. So that means not too much horizontal like this, or like this where your palm is against it, but vertical like this, and there should be a gap between your palm and the bottom of the guitar neck here. And your fingers should be bent. Put your first finger on the first fret of the first string. So that's right here. And you're going to squeeze with the thumb and then play the same string. In this case, it's the first string. So from the side, that looks like this. See how my finger's nice and bent like that? Now when you play a fret like this, you don't want to be too far back in the fret area. For instance, in this first fret area, I don't want to be right next to the nut like this. Notice there's a sort of buzzing sound. So go closer to the fret, just behind it here. Hear the difference? The other thing to avoid is to put your finger too far forward so it goes over the fret like this. You still get the note, but it's very muffled sounding. If I move back to the correct position, it's much clearer. So if you can go right behind that fret, but not on top of it, and keep your finger bent. Once you feel comfortable with that, we can take this first finger and just move to every fret on that first string. We'll start with the first fret. Then move to the second, to the next one. So make sure your whole hand moves with you. And now I'll do all of that again. Now let's move that exercise to the second string, and this time we're going to use the second finger. And it's not because you use the second finger for the second string or something like that. It's just to exercise the second finger instead of the first one. So the second finger goes on the first fret of the second string here, and we once again produce a sound. Now you might notice with the first fret of both of these strings that it's harder to play than some of the other frets. That's because this fret is really close to the nut area, so the tension is really high, so it's very normal for that to feel a bit harder to play at first. So we'll play the first fret, move the second finger up a fret, now we move to the third, and continue through the exercise. Now while we're doing this, I'll just point out something that happens. A lot of students tend to do this. Their thumb starts to, around the 7th fret here, it starts to come underneath the fretboard because they feel like they're running out of room. So you don't actually need to do that. You can quite comfortably play all the way up to the 12th fret here. We'll do that string one more time. Remember to keep that thumb vertical. Alright, Alright, let's move to the third string. And we'll use the third finger, not for any other reason, but to exercise a different finger. Third finger on the first fret, second, and continue through the exercise. Keep your thumb vertical. Make sure you're shifting for every note. Depending on the age of the student and whether or not they've had past experience playing other musical instruments like violin or cello or piano or anything like that, that might be enough for the student for the first lesson, but usually I always try to include a bit of a conversation about chords. At the moment we've been playing one note at a time, whether it's an open string like one of these, or whether it's a fretted note. A chord is where you play 3 or more notes at the same time. So on a guitar, that means to play 3 or more strings at the same time, because we can't play 2 notes at the same time on one string. So we're going to look at some chords that use these 3 strings here. And the first of these chords is just going to be to play those 3 strings open. So we start from the 3rd string and we strum downwards. When you strum, try to aim below this 1st string. Don't aim right on it, but try to aim a bit further down, like here. And doing that will ensure that you get all of the strings. So slightly more difficult than that is to take this 3rd finger and put it on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. So now what we do is we play those 3 strings. And you can play them individually as well, making sure that all of them work. In the next one, we put our 1st finger on the 1st fret. So this is a bit trickier because it's that 1st fret that's close to the nut, so it's a bit harder to push. So you push that fret down and play the same 3 strings, making sure they all work. You don't want to hear this. If you hear that, you probably have to push a bit harder. If you're finding that easy enough, the next thing that we could try is to take the 1st finger and put it on the 2nd string. Now here, if your finger isn't hooked enough, it's not bent like this, you'll touch the 1st string and that will stop it and it won't ring. You should get that sound. So playing the 3rd string, 2nd, 1st. You really have to hook that finger so you don't touch the string. And here's one more bonus chord for this lesson. Take the 1st finger, put it where it was on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, and then you also take the 2nd finger and put it on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. Make sure both of them are bent and play the 3 strings. If you're a total beginner to the guitar, particularly if you're quite young, you'll probably find that your fingers get a bit sore on the fingertips after playing through these exercises. So don't worry about that at all. It's absolutely perfectly normal and something that will go away with time, and the more that you practice, the quicker it will go away. So there's a bit of motivation for you to do some practice. So the best thing that you can do for this week for practice is to go back through the exercises in the video, re-watch it if you need to, and just practice it for a bit each day, 5 to 10 minutes, but do it every day. And I guarantee you, if you do that, you'll find that by the end of the week, your fingers aren't as sore and that you'll be very comfortable getting through these exercises. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, click the like button. I'm releasing videos every Wednesday, so I'll see you next week for the next one.